Good morning and welcome to the regular Board of County Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, February 17th. We do begin each of our meetings with an invocation, and this morning we have Lon Halley from Capital Ministries. We invite you to stand and join us.
I decided to be a little bright sunshine today with my bright yellow coat. So, Abba Father, we pause to acknowledge your presence in this deliberation body. In your word, you say, draw nigh to you and you'll draw nigh to us. Lord, unless the Lord build a house, we build in vain. So, Lord, we want to acknowledge you in our presence. Help us in our deliberation. Your word says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these other things shall be added unto you. And Lord, I also want to quote another verse, Philippians 4. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Jesus. Finally, brethren, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things. So, Lord, as they begin deliberation, I ask you to anoint them, give them wisdom, discernment for the important decisions and the impact they have on our community, Lord, for the well-being. And, Lord, help them to make right decisions so that we will honor you in all we do. Remember, government is to restrain evil. And that's the purpose. And they stand over the jurisdiction, Lord, in this county. And just pray you'll give them the best wisdom they could ever obtain. And that's from you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
And Commissioner Weissong, if you'd lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Item 3.
Item number 3 is staff emergency items, and I'm unaware of any staff emergency items today.
Item 4.
Item number 4 is changes, postponements, and notice of the next meeting. I'm aware of one change to today's agenda. There's a request by the applicant to continue item number 11 to March 3rd, and that will require a motion. And the next meeting will be Tuesday, March 3rd at 9:00 a.m.
Okay, I'd ask for a motion to continue item 11.
I move to reschedule item number 11 to March 3rd.
Second.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. Any comments? I'll call the roll. Commissioner Weissong?
Aye.
Vice Chair Nelson?
Aye.
Commissioner Applegate?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Item 5.
Item number 5 is the consent calendar, including items 5A through 5U.
Okay, is there anyone here today who wishes to speak on an item on the consent calendar? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it up here for any comments or motion from commissioners.
I would move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. One last opportunity for any comments. All right, seeing none, we'll begin the vote with Commissioner Weissong.
Aye.
Vice Chair Nelson?
Aye.
Commissioner Applegate?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Item 6.
Item number 6 is the proclamation recognizing the retirement of Todd Martz, Bill Weissong, Commissioner, Board of County Commissioners.
I'm requesting approval of a motion proclaiming and recognizing the retirement of Todd Martz. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County, Colorado, with deep appreciation, acknowledges the retirement of Todd Martz following his 31 years with El Paso County, and whereas Todd was hired in 1994 as a naturalist at Bear Creek Nature Center, connecting visitors to the center's natural and cultural resources transforming educational information into meaningful experiences, and whereas serving in progressively senior roles, culminating in Executive Director of Parks in Community Services, Todd currently oversees an $8.5 million budget and has managed signature programs in events such as the County Fair and Nature Center programs, capital projects including the Fountain Creek Nature Center expansion, multiple exhibit renovations, outdoor classrooms, and county fairground facility improvements, and whereas Todd was a key champion in the rebuilding of the Bear Creek Nature Center from the ground up after a devastating arson fire in 2001, which completely destroyed it, helping the center rise from the ashes to a new beginning. Celebrating its 50th anniversary in 2026, Bear Creek Nature Center was the first nature center established in Colorado and remains a hallmark of our community, serving as a model for nature centers across the country. And whereas, under Todd's leadership, the county enhanced park accessibility through the Trailability program, offering off-road mobility vehicles at our nature center and ADA and digital accessibility upgrades to enable individuals with disabilities to access and enjoy our trails and other county parks and recreational resources. And whereas numerous strategic partnerships that benefit the County Parks and Recreation Program have been forged during Todd's tenure, including collaborative relationships with universities, businesses, nonprofits, and governmental organizations. And whereas throughout his career, Todd fostered a culture of excellence and teamwork, inspiring staff and volunteers alike to provide high-quality recreational programming for citizens of all ages. And whereas Todd's dedication to our community over the years, deep love of the outdoors, and his vision for our parks, trails, and recreational programs have transformed El Paso County into a better place to live, work, and play. He has left an indelible mark on our landscape and in our hearts. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County, Colorado, hereby proclaims its gratitude to Todd Martz for his 31 years of service to El Paso County and wishes him the best and happy trails in his retirement. Done the 17th day of February 2026 at Colorado Springs, Colorado, by the Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County, Colorado. Gary Geithner, Chair, Lauren Nelson, Vice Chair, and members Applegate, Williams, and Wysong. Attested by Steve Schleicher, County Clerk and Recorder.
Second.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. We'd like to invite you to come on up.
Thank you, Commissioners. Really is an honor to be here today and to have this opportunity. I really want to thank all of you and all of your predecessors that I've had the pleasure of working with. The support that we've gotten over the decades from the County Commission has been really tremendous, and so thank you very much for that. And thank you, Commissioner Wysong, for the proclamation. That was very special. The majority of my career has been spent working, as he mentioned, at the nature centers and the county fair, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I thrived on the joy and the deep appreciation we experience daily with our visitors and the youth. Summer day camps will always be a highlight of my career, and I am sure I had as much or more fun as those kids that I got to spend the days with. My countless hours I spent at the county fair has enforced that this tradition is really a special, unique treasure for our community and El Paso County. Some of my favorite memories at the county fair was I got there really early in the morning and I would go for a walk without my blue vest. Early on, people didn't know who I was, which was nice. And I would walk through the barns and I would see the 4-H youth learning and experiencing and taking care of their animals. It was exactly why we do the county fair. The Derby and all that was fun, but those mornings I spent walking through the barns were something special that I'll never forget. The past 4.5 years as executive director has been both the greatest challenge, but also the greatest honor of my 31-year career. I am extremely proud of what we've accomplished and the impacts that we've made for generations to come. For me, being a public servant was more than just a job title. It was a promise to show up when it was hard. Those days after the arson fire, some of the hardest days ever, but showed up every day because it was my job. To listen when it was easier to speak. The countless public meetings I went to where some people were a little bit disgruntled, I knew it was important for me to listen and not to speak. And also to always put the community needs first. I've never forgotten that being a public servant is an honor and a privilege. We must continue to take care of what we have and also have the vision what is needed in the future to make El Paso County a place we want to live, learn, and play. Thank you again very much.
Thank you. And I know we have several speakers here. So I'm going to go by the list that I have. So I'm going to ask Sonny Bryant.
Okay, good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and honorable commissioners. Today, we recognize and thank Todd Martz for 31 years of service to our park system and our community. As mentioned in the proclamation, Todd began his career with us as a naturalist at Bear Creek Nature Center, where his passion for the natural world and environmental education quickly became clear. Those early years laid the foundation for a career dedicated to public service, conservation, and community access to nature. Over the course of 3 decades, Todd has served our county in multiple capacities, culminating in his role as the executive director of county parks. Few people can say they have seen an organization from so many angles or contributed across so many seasons of change. That institutional knowledge and long-term commitment are significant and worthy of recognition. 31 years of public service represents a substantial chapter, not only in a career, but in the life of our park system. Today is an opportunity to acknowledge the time, energy, and effort that Todd has invested and the lasting impact of key projects and moments along the way. I've had the pleasure of working with Todd for the last 3.5 years and have enjoyed getting to know him and helping advance various projects in county parks. One specific project that we've been working on is how we manage our park assets. And so we've completely changed the process. We're looking at things substantially different and really appreciate Todd's leadership and his ability to lead this project forward. He has faithfully served on the Objective 1 for our county strategic plan, which has changed the way we look at entire assets throughout the county. So this next transition is not an ending, but a well-earned next chapter. We thank you and we wish you all the best in what is to come.
Okay, next we have Brian Olson.
Good morning, honorable commissioners. My name is Brian Olson. I'm the executive director for El Paso County Facilities and Strategic Infrastructure Management. Today is a bittersweet day. While I'm happy to be here to celebrate Todd's retirement, I'll also miss both his leadership and his cooperation as a fellow director. I've had the privilege of working with Todd not only in his role as the executive director for Parks and Community Services, but also in his previous roles within his department. While we have made a great impact on this community, while he has made a great impact on this community. No, this is for you. In this community, I wanted to mention a few things that my department has had directly working with Todd as he's directly partnered with us and with parks, specifically with ADA. The county has made a priority to concentrate on the Americans with Disability Act, or ADA. And I want to take a moment to recognize Todd's partnership on these efforts, as really could not have been nearly successful without his help. The county has always prioritized the improvement of access to all the programs, facilities, and parks for its citizens, including the ADA community. I appreciate Todd's dedication to these efforts, as we recently made a point to focus on the county's cherished parks and fairgrounds. Without Todd's partnership, the county could not have been successful with so many improvements that have made, and just a few of those being the ADA parking lot at the county fairgrounds, the ADA access for pedestrian pathways to all the fair structures, the trailability program, the train hoppers. So definitely a cherished program within the county. The county's first ADA accessible dog park at Fountain Creek Regional Park, and then all the ADA parking improvements that we've made to the county parks. And these are just a few of the accomplishments that Todd's partnership has guaranteed the success of these programs. And not to mention the El Paso County Fair events that Todd's been a part of for so many years. Many do not know that before my time at the county, I actually had the privilege to work with Todd's wife, Jenny. And I consider myself lucky and privileged to have worked with both Todd and Jenny. And I really wish them the best in their new adventures. Todd, you're a great community leader, a great partner to facilities, and really, you're a great friend. I appreciate your friendship and the many years you have invested in our county. So I hope you please keep in touch, and I hope you take care of one another. You guys deserve the best. And thank you so much.
Okay, next we have Teresa.
Good morning, honorable commissioners. My name is Teresa Odello, Division Manager for Recreation and Cultural Services. Todd's 31 years of public service reflect a deep commitment to the county and doing things the right way. He didn't begin his journey, as you know, on a leadership role. He was the lowest paying person in the whole county, but he built it up to be executive director. And over the course of his career, he led efforts that resulted in real lasting improvements, such as the new pole barn in the fairgrounds, which is the first major structure there for like 20 years, I don't know. Tripling the size of Fountain Creek Nature Center, creating more opportunities for education, recreation, and conservation. And when Bear Creek Nature Center burned down, he worked tirelessly as part of the rebuilding effort, ensuring it rose stronger and better than before. Beyond facilities, he championed accessibility and inclusion, as Brian said. Under his leadership, the Trailability Program and the VIP Trail became defining examples and national role models of how parks and outdoor spaces can be welcoming to everyone. He also led several master plan efforts, including the Paint Mines Master Plan, Jones Park Master Plan, and the Fox Run Nature Center planning process. These plans will guide the community for years to come and were significant undertakings that benefited greatly from his leadership and reflect his character as someone who does not shy away from challenges. His leadership was defined by his genuine care for people. He actually listened and encouraged others to grow. He set an example of authentic leadership by holding himself to the same high standards that he held his staff and everybody else. He didn't just manage work, he invested in people and outcomes, strengthening programs, supporting staff, and helping shape the future of collaboration. His dedication sometimes showed up and also in unforgettable ways, such as a time he called a fair supervisor during a demo derby, asking if the berms, the side dirt was tall enough. Little late, but that's okay. Or the time he left his director's role at park headquarters to come and do a puppet show because it was specifically requested that he had to do the puppet show. So he didn't hesitate to leave that and come on over to do that. Those moments made us smile, also say everything about who Todd is: committed, present, and willing to jump in whenever needed. While we'll miss him, quitter, we're excited for what lies ahead for him. We know retirement will include daily hikes, pursuing beekeeping, traveling, and tackling the many home projects thoughtfully assigned to him by his wife. Todd, your legacy is one of service, kindness, and leadership by example. You have made the Parks Department stronger and this workplace better. On behalf of your staff, the Parks Department, and the hundreds of thousands of visitors you have touched throughout the last 31 years, we thank you, wish you happiness, adventure, and fulfillment in the next chapter. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Tom.
In a prior lifetime, I had a role similar to Todd's where there was a board that I reported to, and then there was my role, and then there was a staff that was actually doing the work related to the fiscal as well as the mission responsibilities of the organization. And in the last 3.5 years as a chair of the Park Advisory Board, or a member and now chair for the last 2.5 years, what I got to see with Todd was that fragile place in the middle of that hourglass has the challenge that when board members change, the needs of the community change, and there are shifts, he also has to make sure that the staff is delivering in alignment with that. And that's something that I think he's done very well from my point, because if they go in different directions, right, it breaks and the people in our community suffer. I think he's done a terrific job at that. The second area of that, I think Todd really impressed me. And maybe our perceptions are different because as our commission, you may just see another director coming in asking for money for their department. But when we look at the changes that have occurred in the world, in 1980, the population in El Paso County outside of Colorado Springs was about 100,000. Obesity rates were less than 15%, now over 25, around 25%, maybe higher. Diabetes rates went from about 2.5% of the population now to about 8.4% of the population. And what I heard consistently from Todd was that it wasn't just about the money for the department, but what was in 1980 recreation and fun, that's no longer the case today. Today, our trails, our open space, our parks provide a critical public health venue for the citizens of our community. And what I heard consistently was that fight and that championship for the department wasn't just about the money, it was about delivering this important public health venue for our citizens. And it's just been an honor for me to be able to serve as a volunteer. So I think that's even less paid than your initial job, pretty sure. But I'm excited for you and Jenny for the ventures you have planned. And of course, the challenge for you as our leaders of our community, you're going to have to find someone who can manage in that fragile place in the center of the hourglass, as well as continue to be a champion for public health in our community through Parks and Rec. Todd, it's a pleasure getting to know you. All the best, my friend.
Okay, and last but not least, we have Jack Ladley.
Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Honorable Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity for us to say a few words to Todd this morning and about Todd too. So it's my pleasure to stand up here and recognize Todd for his 31 years of public service. From my seat, I especially want to thank Todd for being a true partner to the Department of Public Works. He understands that parks, trails, roads, bridges, facilities are not competing priorities. They're shared community assets. Your support for asset management, long-term planning and data-driven investment helped elevate not just parks, but how the county thinks about sustainability and stewardship across the board. Todd, you consistently showed that conservation and access can coexist, that partnerships matter, and that good public service is about thinking beyond today and planning for the next generation. On behalf of the men and women of Public Works, you saw me carry down this giant piece of metal. We want to thank you for your leadership and your collaboration. And as a small token of our appreciation, we have a street sign for you. Consider it official recognition that you helped pave the way for a stronger, more connected El Paso County.
Okay, before we bring it up here, Todd, if you have anything additional you'd like to add at this point.
Goodness. I don't. I just want to thank these 5 people and recognize how valuable they are to me as friends, but also to El Paso County. And I know I've loved my time here, and I hope I've made an impact, but I know the future of El Paso County Parks is very good and very strong. And I look forward to using the parks, walking in the parks, and seeing the progress. That asset management is such a huge thing, and that data-driven part of parks. I'm a little bit sad I didn't quite get all the way there, but I know that this team is going to get there, and we're going to have real quality decisions being made on how to manage our parks. So thank you very much again, commissioners, for this time. I appreciate the recognition.
Okay, we're going to bring it up here, and it looks like we'll begin with Commissioner Williams.
Oh, yes, I have a few things to say. So, Todd, I want to thank you for your wisdom. It's so fun working with our Parks Department. So I'm going to say a few things you did do and a few things that may have occurred under the previous director. So in my district, in Fox Run Park, there used to be a zombie run. And I am sure that Todd was the one who advised Tim Wolkin to cancel that zombie run. It was fun, it was entertaining, but one year it became a little dangerous, and where people would dress up as zombies and attempt to catch the runners. It was a lot funner to dress up as a zombie than to run. And so that was the year the zombie run was canceled. Since then, the Fox Run Park has the amazing amount of activities, and the use in that park just really is amazing to me year-round. That park is completely full with soccer kids, families, individuals enjoying the beautiful hiking trails. The other thing that came to mind was, prior to being a commissioner, the year that the cleaning company failed to show up to clean the county fairgrounds. And the Parks Department arranged for every department to take a night. The department heads primarily, not some of the lower level employees, to take a night to go out to clean the fairgrounds. And it was fantastic. It was very successful. And so these are the things that we call upon our Parks Department to do. And then you are a person who does not shy away from challenges. So we had a wonderful recommendation and a wonderful idea for a Fox Run Nature Center. The building was a little bit big. We downsized it to meet some of the neighbors' requests. And then the economy had a downturn, and we couldn't quite get the money. And so we had the wisdom, you had the wisdom to say it's time to use that money instead to make our trails better. And maybe someday, 20, 30 years from now, we'll do a Fox Run Nature Center or a Black Forest Nature Center or a Homestead Park Nature Center. But in El Paso County, our leaders of our county, our department heads have the wisdom to stand up and say, and they are not afraid to say, it is time to change course. And that's what you do when you have something that's not working as you want to. I love the comment, this must be why you have a successful marriage, is you listen and you don't speak. I suspect you do that at home. As a politician, it's really hard to listen and not speak, or not prepare your response. And as a department head and a supervisor of employees, it could probably be, or someone who works so closely with the public as you do, it's very tempting to say something. And instead, I love that comment that you listen and you don't speak, because it's so important to hear what the constituents and our residents of El Paso County are saying to you. And finally, I just love the song Happy Trails. We may have to sing it when we're done here, but good luck. And remember that the skies may be blue some days, but the trails are always green. So I was looking up the words, but I don't know if that's the right quote. So congratulations, and we hope you enjoy your retirement.
Vice Chair Nelson.
Well, I haven't been here very long, but I wanted to say thank you for helping me think through the role of government in parks. That's not something I have given a lot of thought to in my previous roles. And so I'm really struck by how important it is that we all are built so differently and have different interests, and your passion is parks. And I'm grateful that there are people like you who help to focus the work and improve our community in that way. And so thank you for 31 years in the county, and I just really wish you the best and that you enjoy your time with family. I know you're a grandpa and have some grandchildren to spend time with now, and your parents and your children and wife. And so I just really hope that you're able to be blessed in this time and that you can rest and enjoy the parks that you helped build. Thank you.
Commissioner Applegate.
Thank you. What actually you don't realize is you're being punked, so I'm going to make a motion here in a minute, and we're going to make you stay another year. No, that's good, right? Am I good there, Nate? Okay, no, just kidding. But out of all seriousness, no, seriously, congratulations. Enjoy your retirement. I've seen how you talk to the public. I mean, we witnessed that when we were on our parks tour. Me and Commissioner Weissong, is like you interact well with constituents, whether they're upset or they're just complimenting you guys. I mean, your department's done great. I appreciate the work you've done. Fountain Creek Nature Center looks green last time I was there, so... And I want you to just enjoy it, but just, hey, promise me one thing, come around. Hopefully we see you at the fair, this next year, and hopefully we see you around at the different events. So, we catch you a time or two. So, but enjoy your retirement. And thank you. You've earned it. So.
And our tradition is to let the individual who read the proclamation finish up. So I'll make my comments here before I turn it over to Commissioner Weissong. I too want to say thank you. 31 years is a long time of service to the county, so I thank you for that. A couple of things since you and I have been here together. One of my favorite will always be the Falcon Kite Fest. What a tremendous success that has been. It has brought so many people to the Falcon Regional Park that I'm not sure would have been there otherwise, but it's a very family-friendly event to see, especially on Father's Day weekends, fathers with their children. That is something that is just really special that was created, and I'm really grateful for the work that made that happen and the vision. Of course, we both share the love of the fairgrounds and the fair, and obviously that's where we first met, I think, was at the fairgrounds. And so I'm just, again, grateful for the work that was done there. Those barns, I will certainly always think of you when I'm out there walking those barns as well. And lastly, I'm really excited for you to get to take on beekeeping. For real, not just in the Nature Center, but I hope that you have really big plans for backyard beekeeping. No, I'm available. I'm not an expert, but I will always be available if there's anything that I can help with. I think we've got a few beekeepers in the county now, and I think it's a great way that we can all stay connected. So I hope for a very large honey harvest for you, and enjoyment of all the other things that I know that you have planned, especially with family. And with that, I will turn it over to Commissioner Weissong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Where do I start? I'll start with the first one. I don't think I'll ever retire because of all the honeydews. But as the Parks Board advisor to the advisory board, it has been it's been my pleasure to serve with you. And as it was said when Commissioner Applegate and I did some of the tours, it was your staff that helped make us feel really comfortable, filled in a lot of the gaps. From when you started in 94, you're kind of like a maverick. You started at the bottom and worked your way up. It gave you a very unique perspective of what the parks were at that time. And you were able to just start providing input. Obviously, as Sonny mentioned, that it was recognized, and as you continually worked up. And in that, you laid a really good foundation for what's to come. As Commissioner Williams mentioned, well, didn't quite make the Fox Run Nature Center, but who knows what will be coming next. But it's that foundation that you laid. And that is so important. And you talked about listening and observing. It is a unique skill. And I think we all need to heed that. But I want to really kind of finish with is leadership. It was kind of a common theme through a lot of the comments, that part of that is hiring great people, and you have. When I've had the opportunity to work with many of your staff, it's been an absolute pleasure in being able to understand where they're coming from, and the fact that you hired them and you got out of the way. And that's another really important skill. So from the local activities, as Chair Geithner talked about, to the Bear Creek runs and all the other successful activities, you can go out knowing that you've had an indelible mark on our landscape of the county parks. So thank you.
Okay. With that, if you have any additional comments, you're welcome to make them.
I'm just supposed to listen, so I'm good. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, at this point, I think we are ready to take a vote. And so we'll begin with Commissioner Wysong,
Aye.
Vice Chair Nelson.
Aye.
Commissioner Applegate,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. And we're going to take a brief recess for a photograph.
Thank you.
I'll call this meeting back to order. We are on item 7.
Item number 7 is comments by elected officials and commissioner liaison reports.
Okay, I think we have a countywide elected official who'd like to address us.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mark Bleacher, County Assessor. I want to ask for your indulgence for a moment on House Bill 1119 and credit to Brad Hughes, Brenda Donis, and Toby Demish for putting together this PowerPoint. Basically, this bill is to create 2 different assessment rates for land and improvements on a property. Assessors value each separately. It's part of the mass appraisal process. And to give you an overview, the current calculation that was used for the tax bills that went out last month is on the left-hand side of the screen. It was already split between schools and local government. Now what this proposed bill does is split schools, local government, land, and improvements, and would actually create 3 different mill levies from a taxing authority to comply with this. 1 for land, 1 for improvements, and 1 for other assessed properties such as ag and state assessed. As an example, to keep this total tax neutral on the example property, the mill levy for local government for land would jump from, it would jump up to 140 mills, and the improvement would drop to 33. The theory behind the bill is it drives downtown growth, maximizes land productivity, and encourages property upgrades. The land productivity may negatively affect TIF, and it also affects the bundle of rights of property owners. Property owners enjoy different bundles of rights, such as being able to get a lien against the property, to sell it, but another right is to do nothing with it. This bill incentivizes taking away that right. Yes.
If you could go back to this slide, did you say, so if it's going to encourage downtown development is what drives downtown growth, but you says it also affects tax increment financing. Does that
Yes.
mean the urban renewal projects we have going on now are going to produce less money?
It could, because it's going to shift the taxes from the improvements to the land. So the new construction would have less effect or less revenue production than it does now.
So does it encourage the owner of the property to start building sooner or later?
Sooner, because it's going to
Okay.
increase holding costs.
Okay, all right. That just, it's like 7 years of work that just changed right there in my mind. So thank you.
This slide just shows how the levies would have to change to keep a neutral property tax in total for a property. Oops, going the wrong way here. The reality is the shift of the tax burden would affect properties with high value improvements by causing their total tax to go down, but lower value properties or properties with lower value improvement, their taxes may actually increase. A better example is this from Decano, where this property on the first property on 700 Glenmore, most of its value is in the land, not the improvement. And that person is actually going to see an increase in their total taxes. So the negative effect is you're affecting that portion of the population that needs affordable housing the most. So to go through these unintended consequences, this could create a pressure to sell, accelerating gentrification, again, reducing the affordable housing stock. Retail tax may shift from renovated property nearby to the older properties that need to redevelop, increasing tax burden for those business owners. The owners of large lots, based on zoning restriction, lack of infrastructure to support utilities or water, or even historic designations, may make development impossible and create an unfair tax burden. Land-intensive businesses such as golf courses, auto dealerships, trucking service companies, they will see an unfair increase in their taxes because they need that excess land for their business. Properties with a small land footprint, think of downtown Denver, will likely see no significant reduction in overall tax. Mobile home parks are a big one. Again, a very important part of the affordable housing stock. Because of the large amount of land associated with that park, that increased land tax would be passed on in rents to the mobile homeowners. And finally, property destroyed by natural disaster, tax reduction after fires would be minimized, and tax revenue will be negligible after rebuilding. In addition, because the holding costs of land will increase due to taxes, land values may actually plummet in compensation for that.
Now, can I ask another question? This one I don't know this sounds like a regressive tax.
It is.
So we're affecting,
The sponsors believe it's progressive, but assessors believe it's actually going to turn out to be regressive.
and this is something in the legislature right now.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, we still have a chance to fight it. Thank you.
So that is why I'm here today. I encourage this board to join assessors, at least the majority of assessors in the state, in opposing this. I believe the treasurers also oppose it. And one last thing I'll address is our property tax calculation is complicated enough under the current calculation. The new calculation is going to be incredibly difficult to understand for both property owners and even title companies and real estate brokers. The assessor's office, along with the treasurer's office, has received numerous calls this year complaining that we are not showing tax estimates on our notices of value, that we're not showing assessed values on either our notice of value or the tax bills. That's actually a change in state law that took place this year, took place last year, starting this year. And that's because the state legislature recognized the overcomplication with dual assessment rates. And so the assessor's office, the treasurer's office, we're not trying to hide assessed value from the public. So if they go to our website, they can see the assessed values for school and local government broken out individually. It's all public information. And we are happy to provide a tax estimate for 2026 based on current law if you just call into our office. That is all I had. Are there any other questions?
What was the bill number one more time?
Oh, I'm sorry, House Bill 261119.
Okay, thank you. That was a good news moment.
Thank you for
for your
coming
time.
and providing this information. I know that we will definitely look into this one more. We'll be talking to our government affairs team and doing what we can. And it's frustrating to watch the state continue to monkey around with all of the different pieces of this formulation, and it becomes more and more confusing. It creates less and less trust with the government, and also I think frustrating to hear. We know that the state wants density. You know, we know all of those goals that they have been after, but at the same point creates a lot of problems. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much for mentioning the bundle of rights that are important for property owners. I think that is incredibly important for us to remember. This property doesn't belong to the government. It's not for the government to say what happens with it. It is for the owners to say. And trying to get to social engineering through taxing is really concerning to me. So thanks for bringing this to our attention.
One last thing I should add is, should this pass, the financial burden on the counties, another unfunded mandate would be the cost to update software. And some assessors believe it will go into the hundreds of thousands based on their vendors.
And I do have two more questions. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The Assessors Association has come out in opposition.
We voted last week in the legislative committee to oppose this bill.
And has the Treasurers Association come out? And Chuck Berman's back there. He's raising his thumb, yes. So thank you. We appreciate that.
Any other questions, Commissioner Weisong?
Can we get a copy of those slides, please?
Yes, sir. I can email those at the, as soon as I get back to the office.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments on this? Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, and with that, I will ask if we have any other countywides who would like to come and speak to us. And seeing none, we will move to Commissioner Weisong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last week was PPACG, Parks Board, Land Use, and our Workforce Center. This week, I have a couple of veteran-related activities. Tomorrow, Representative Crank has a roundtable for Veterans Affairs. And then we'll be going up to Triview in Metro to talk with the group up there. Thursday, veterans, or a meeting at Mount Carmel. There's an opportunity to look at some muralist activities that will represent veterans around the county. Be going down to Pueblo to meet with some of the officials, both city and county, discussing Fountain Creek Watershed District. And then Friday, we've got our Fountain Creek Watershed District Board meeting. And then on Friday, Todd Mart's retirement party.
Vice Chair Nelson.
Last week during the PPRTA authority meeting, we approved some high dollar amounts for the pavement program, and I requested that our county engineer, Josh Palmer, come and present the pavement program that we had just recently received that information in a meeting, and I thought it was so informative, and so I requested that he come and present that information to this group because I think it will be really beneficial for them to see how we make decisions on our roads. And I'm just really proud of that work and the people who have put so much effort into getting our programs to be more data driven. And I think we should just take every advantage to let people know how the county is operating and making data-informed decisions. So just want to let my fellow commissioners know that I made that ask, and I did let our county administrator also know that I made that request, and we'll see what, if it'll end up being on the March agenda or just depending what else is there. We'll see how it plays out over the next few months. And then tomorrow I have the county 4th Judicial District Community Corrections Board meeting. I serve as the liaison, so I'm not a voting member, but as I am able to, I try to attend just to continue to learn more about that work and make sure that I am appointing people or bringing recommendations to this board of who we should appoint that will be in alignment with the direction that we're wanting for that work. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Commissioner Applegate.
Thank you. Last Tuesday, after our commissioner meeting, me and Commissioner Weisong, we attended. UCCS hosted their annual where they play, the basketball teams play CSU Pueblo, and so they were hosting an event down there and featured some Pueblo City councilmen and some people from both schools, both the athletic directors and a couple of the deans from UCCS and CSU Pueblo were there. So it was really good to interact with them, kind of get the ins and outs, see how they're not only academically how they're achieving, but also to get a little side of the sports programs and how they're doing there. Wednesday, day after, the Empty Stocking Fund had their annual closing ceremony, and very good news. They raised over $1.9 million, and that's the most they've ever done was in that fund. So it was really good. It got pushed out to those kiddos, and that was really great. I mean, it's awesome. It's good work they do, their charity work. And Friday, I attended the Rotary Club downtown, and I actually got a really good presentation from Tatiana Bailey. I had seen this before, but she had kind of some updates, not just on what the economy is doing and how the federal government, the administration was driving that, but what the economy was doing in Colorado and how we were looking at like really hard at the unemployment rates and the different decisions that the State House was doing that was influencing, the economics in the area. So, and as well as Colorado Springs and El Paso County. So I'm going to continue to root for our Team USA in Olympics. As they say, the comeback begins. So I can't wait. I think we're going to do it. I think we can overtake Italy and Norway. So I believe we have the best athletes, and we're looking awesome in a lot of those team events. So yesterday being President's Day, I'm going to end on a quote from Abraham Lincoln. The best way to predict your future is to create it.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes. So I'm going to start with my good news this morning because I think my bad news is actually discouraging. This week, I had a great week last week and a good Valentine's Day as we joined everyone else who went to Texas Roadhouse on Monday afternoon at 3:30, between 3:30 and 5 to get an affordable dinner. So quite the crowd. And so I appreciate my husband for taking me there. And so we have our meetings today. On Wednesday, well, we're doing several things related to America 250, Colorado 150. And so I have a meeting regarding that. On Friday, we are traveling, Commissioner Applegate, myself, and Ryan Purcell are traveling to Washington, D.C., where we will attend the National Association of Counties meeting and work with other commissioners throughout Colorado. The big thing that I will be doing when I'm there is on Monday, and I don't know who the meeting is with. I will be going with 5 other commissioners to meet with the Federal Department of Human Services. So now on to some of my meetings from last week. We had the child welfare allocation meeting on Friday, and it was a very interesting meeting. We didn't have hardly any business, and they had this big topics that said discussion in the middle. And they said, well, we're going to go the full time, which kind of gave us a heads up that discussion was going to be tough. And the discussion was about the Joint Budget Committee meeting that occurred on Thursday afternoon. The state is really struggling with how to meet House Resolution 1, which is a federal government bill regarding the distribution of SNAP benefits and other benefits through the Department of Human Services and the error rate regarding that. And Colorado has, overall, El Paso County has a good error rate. Overall, Colorado has a poor error rate. And apparently the discussion on Thursday at the Joint Budget Committee was actually how to shift costs to counties of the Department of Human Services. So instead of an 80-20 split where El Paso County pays 20% of the cost, several senators or several individuals on the Joint Budget Committee asked, what if we changed it to a 90, we're at a 90-10 rate, and they want to change it back to an 80-20 rate. That would be an increase in how much the county has to spend. I'm sorry, I did fail 4th grade math on percentages. So it was really discouraging as Stacy Quiddick and I talked about this via text message, and I shot an email off to Administrator Waters to be aware that we may have some significant budgetary hits this fall if the Joint Budget Committee continues to try to shift costs to county government for the Department of Human Services services. And we had a CCI meeting 2 weeks ago where very specifically a commissioner who is a Democrat asked, is this an attempt to shift the cost to counties? And that question was somewhat avoided, but I am becoming more suspicious by the day that the state legislature and the governor are going to try to shift many of the costs of House Resolution 1 to the counties, which our staff is doing well, I will say. But we're the one of the few counties that still has a TABOR limitation that makes it hard. And many counties don't have TABOR anymore, but it's going to be hard on nearly every county if the governor and the Joint Budget Committee decides to shift any of these Department of Human Services costs down to the county. So I wanted to report on that, and that is my news for the day. Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to mention several things. One being I will also be attending Congressman Crank's discussion on needs of our veterans. Also have a library board meeting this week. Also, since we are out next week because we have commissioners traveling to NACO, I will just mention that we also have Board of Health next week and Opioid Council as well. I really appreciate Commissioner Williams bringing up some of those concerns that are being talked about not only in the DHA space, but at the JBC, specifically around passing costs down to counties. I really don't know how long Colorado will thrive. We're seeing Colorado fall consistently in rankings, whether it be businesses. We're now seeing more people moving out of Colorado. The reality is we cannot continue spending at this rate. Raising revenue doesn't solve the problem. You can't make Colorado more affordable by taxing people more and redistributing it. That doesn't make it more affordable. It just means that there are more people paying into an endless system. Incredibly frustrating. And along those lines, I wanted to share a little bit of information that was shared by Sean Page, who has been a vocal critic of our state government lately, but also shared a lot of really important information. And this in particular has to do with the amount of money that has been spent on electric vehicles, subsidizing those, and our governor bragging about that. Incidentally, the idea of, climate cultists came up at, with our Secretary of State in speaking to the world. And I think this is really important because it is damaging all of us. But while Governor of Colorado is now bragging about having 210,000 electric vehicles on the road and saying that we are a leader in this, it is less than 4% of the vehicles that are on the road in Colorado. When looking at this in relationship to the global amount of emissions and what impact that has, Colorado's entire transportation sector is 0.08% of the CO2. 0.08. So we're spending millions and millions of dollars. That's you and me, and we're putting it into the pocket of somebody who probably can't afford to buy a new vehicle, and now it's being subsidized. And we're making no progress. That's, by definition, folks, a waste of money. We have got to stop wasting money in Colorado, chasing after ridiculous things, and all while the governor, quite frankly, lying and just telling people they're working on making Colorado more affordable. This is insane. Anybody who understands anything about the economy can see that we're not making Colorado more affordable. And I was further just utterly speechless this morning when I read that we're now looking into a single-payer system for Colorado. We're going to research whether we can pay for everybody's health care. This is just insanity. The state of Colorado will not be able to survive much more of this from an economic perspective. We're already suffering. It is time for Colorado and Colorado legislators to come back to reality and deal with the real, the here and now. Our gentleman who prayed for us this morning said that the purpose of government was to restrict evil. And that's true, but it's also to protect individual rights. And the individual has the right to work and earn and take care of their family and themselves and not be forced to pay for all kinds of government programs that have little or no effect. Sorry, I couldn't end on a more positive note there, Commissioner Williams. You started with the good news, but pretty discouraging this morning to see that the state legislature just isn't getting it. I think it's going to take voters speaking loudly and clearly that we are fed up before they take a different tact. And with that, I think we are ready to move to item 8.
Item number 8 is community service organization reports, and there are none.
Item 9.
Item number 9 is public comment on items not scheduled on the agenda, and Madam Chair, I'm unaware of anyone signing in to speak today.
Okay, is there anyone here who'd like to speak on an item that is not on the agenda? Hearing none, item 10.
Item number 10 is the called up consent calendar, and there are no items called up.
Okay, item 11 we dealt with earlier and moved it to the March 3rd meeting. Item 12.
Item 12 is department and committee reports, non-action items, and there are none.
Item 13.
Item 13 is the addendum, and there are no addendums today.
Item 14.
Item 14 is the executive session. 14A, executive session requests pursuant to CRS 246402 4B and E for the purpose of holding a conference with the county attorney's office to receive legal advice on specific legal questions and determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators regarding 1, interpretation and implementation of CRS 4310-113, number 2, and 2, pending litigation in the matter of Meadow Lake Airport Association versus Ferguson and El Paso County, Colorado, 4th Judicial District, case number 2025 CV 32624. Nathan Whitney, First Assistant County Attorney. 14B, executive session pursuant to CRS 246402 4E for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators regarding the sale of tax liens on properties located at 6930 Juanita Street and 22750 Jones Road. Nathan Whitney, First Assistant County Attorney, and Lori Sego, Senior County Attorney. And 14C, executive session requests pursuant to CRS 246402 4B and E for the purpose of holding a conference with the county attorney's office to receive legal advice on specific legal questions and determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators regarding pending litigation and the matter of the application of Public Service Company of Colorado concerning an appeal of the county government land use decision issued by El Paso County before the Public Utilities Commission of the State of Colorado, case number 25A0355E. Nathan Whitney, First Assistant County Attorney, and Stephen Martin, Senior County Attorney.
I move we go into executive session for the purposes stated on the record.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. I'll call the roll. Commissioner Weissong.
Aye.
Vice Chair Nelson.
Aye.
Commissioner Applegate.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. We are in executive session.